On November 14, 2022, an incident occurred at an SKLD Wyoming nursing home involving a staff member named Sue and a visitor named Michelle. Sue, the administrator of the facility, called the police on Michelle, accusing her of trespassing and taking pictures of her mother without permission. Despite Michelle's claims that she had not committed any crime and that the nursing home was a public facility, the police quickly convicted her of trespassing and detained her.
She's not on the trespass list, so officially trespasser.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Sue. I'm the administrator. So we have a family member who had an allegation against her, and so we've reached out to her and let her know that if she wants to visit, we need to meet with the team here and figure out a way we can keep the mom from being. Her guardian does not even want her to visit, but we talked her into letting her. If we do supervised or promise that she won't take pictures of her mom and put them all over Facebook and TikTok and stuff because the guardian doesn't want that happening. She came in, refused to talk to me, slammed the door in my face, wouldn't let me in the room. So,
You want to trespass?
yeah, at this point,
best
yes,
way to get her out of
until she will come in and meet with us and figure out what we
you
can
can always
do.
take the no trespass order away, but let's get her trespass
Because I don't want to not let her see her mother, but she needs to do it so we can keep the mom safe.
During the encounter, Michelle argued that the nursing home, being publicly funded, should not be able to trespass on her without reasonable cause. She even mentioned contacting the facility's vice president, who allegedly stated that she had not committed any crime. Michelle believed that her actions were protected by her First Amendment rights, allowing her to visit the facility and take pictures freely. However, the police insisted that trespassing occurred because the nursing home, as private property, had the authority to restrict entry as they deemed necessary. They maintained that Michelle's refusal to cooperate and meet with the facility's team justified her trespass conviction.
Pretty much like anywhere, just like if you walk into a speedway, they can say, hey, I don't want this person here anymore. Doesn't matter what the reason for. If they tell me that, and they want you they say, hey, I want them trespassed.
So when I come back tomorrow, I go to jail?
Yeah, you can't come back until you
I
figure it
will
out.
be coming back.
Okay.
And I already let the vice president and president, I spoke to them today. They said, we haven't heard anything. Well, then why are they doing this? You might want to call her.
Call them and tell them to talk to Sue then.
Correct.
That's the best you can do right now.
Yep, this is just I'm sorry, this is a fucking joke.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but so don't come back on the property until you clear it up with the vice
I'm coming
president.
back tomorrow. I'll be here every day, and I don't care if I go to jail. I've already been told by lawyers, by the advocates that help Britney Spears. National News, the News 8, everybody's on this. So they've already told me, if you have to push the envelope, because that's just going to seal the lawsuit. Huh?
You're not going to be able to do that.
No, but it'll seal the deal when I'm getting arrested for no crime.
Okay.
Trespassing not be the crime.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They can't say I'm trespassing when I've committed no crime.
That is the crime. That's what we're trying to tell you.
Michelle expressed her frustration and stated her intention was to return to the facility, disregarding the trespass warning. She believed that her case had gained significant attention, citing advice from lawyers and advocates who had helped Britney Spears. She asserted that pushing the envelope and standing up for her rights would strengthen her potential lawsuit against the nursing home. Furthermore, Michelle claimed that one of the police officers violated her Fourth Amendment rights during her detainment. She alleged that he forcefully tried to seize her phone while she was attempting to inform her children of the situation. Despite not having committed any crime that warranted handcuffing, she was restrained by the officer.
I'm not going to see you.
Okay, well then you're going to be detained until we figure that out then.
Huh?
Then you're detained until we figure that out.
Why are you detaining me?
Because right now you have to be trespassed.
Okay, well, can I make one phone call?
Nope, you have to give me your driver's license.
I don't
just tell me your name.
Give you already know my name.
Okay, can you write down her name?
Oh my God!
Exactly how it's spelled.
So
until we can find you and we can figure out who you are.
Hold on,
Exactly.
I'm gonna call and let them know. Go pick up my kids, and I'm being arrested.
You're not being arrested right now.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
being detained.
So detained and arrested are two different things. Being
Hold
arrested
on.
means that you've been charged for something. Being detained is temporary.
Hold on, I'm being detained
Okay. Do you want to?
because I won't give them my license.
All right. So
I've done nothing wrong.
What's your date of birth?
I've committed no crime.
What's your date of birth?
I committed no crime.
Okay, now you're being detained then.
Police officer.
And then we'll get a fingerprint scanner and then we'll figure it out. Let go of the phone.
Randy, you want to work with the police?
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right now, you need to
We're not
present
playing games with you.
Only
It
if
ain't
I've committed a crime
not
and reasonable articulable suspicion, and I've done nothing of the
So
sort.
right now you've been trespassed, okay?
Uh-huh.
So we need to identify you so we
Uh-huh.
can successfully trespass you by doing our lawful job.
Okay.
Michelle's perspective on the incident raises concerns about the staff's handling of her visitation rights and the violation of her constitutional rights by the police officers. She intends to take legal action, asserting that her rights were infringed upon throughout the incident. In yet another troubling incident that occurred on October 31, 2022, a visually impaired man named Jim Hodges was illegally arrested and detained by 2 Columbia County cops in Florida. The officers, Deputy Jamie Godey and Sergeant Randy Harrison, claimed that the walking stick Hodges had in his back pocket was a firearm, leading to his arrest without lawful authority. The encounter was captured on video by Hodges himself. When the officers approached him and questioned the object in his back pocket, Hodges explained that it was a walking stick. However, the officers insisted on obtaining his identification and detained him, citing their suspicion he was carrying a weapon.
Hi there. What's this in your back pocket? I just saw you walking it.
It's a navigational aid. What's the problem? You a tyrant?
Yeah, I am actually. What's your name and date of birth?
I don't have to give that unless
Yes,
I'm
sir. I was
You
investigating.
have reasonable
Do you want me to
articulated
put you in
suspicion.
handcuffs right now? Yes, sir, I do.
Hodges questioned the officer's authority and refused to provide his identification, stating he had not committed a crime. He asserted that his Fourth Amendment rights protected him from unreasonable searches and seizures without probable cause or a warrant. Despite Hodges' explanations, the officers continued to detain him and insisted on checking his identification.
Well, you're being one to me.
No, sir, I'm
Have a
doing my
good day.
job.
Am I detained?
Yeah, you are. What's your name and date of birth?
It does not matter.
Yes, sir, it does.
Do you have a crime?
Would you like me
Call
to
your
put you in?
supervisor,
He's right
please.
here.
All right.
You don't.
What's the stop for? For a walking stick.
So-
And it could look like a weapon. She asked you to really present it, okay? Now she's asking me for ID. Okay. I don't need the ID unless there's reasonable articulated suspicion that I have committed a crime and committing a crime or about to do a crime. Sir, and her suspicion was that you were armed, okay? And she's asking you for your ID. Well, now she has verified that I am not armed. Okay. So there is no problem. You have your ID or not? I do have my ID, but you don't need it. Okay. Okay. Sure, you do that.
77 Whiskey Mike 15. Where's Walden?
Where's your wallet at, sir? I don't have a wallet on me.
Okay, where's your ID?
Where's your ID at? Pocket. Which pocket? You're not allowed to search me.
It's in this pocket.
There you go.
The incident constitutes a clear violation of Hodges' Fourth Amendment rights, which protect against unreasonable searches, seizures, and false imprisonment. Florida statutes define false imprisonment as forcibly confining, abducting, imprisoning, or restraining another person without lawful authority and against their will. In this case, the officers wrongly arrested and detained Hodges, despite identifying the object in his back pocket as a walking stick.
It's gonna be. I want your name and your badge number. You know, I'll put you in jail for resistance.
Okay. All right, let's go.
I want your name and badge number too, sir.
Have a seat.
You wanna pick my property up, please?
I sure will, after you have a seat.
You wanna pull this out of my back pocket?
Sure. Here, I'll grab your jacket for you, too.
After an investigation by the sheriff's office, it was determined that Deputy Godey and Sergeant Harrison had violated several department policies. As a result, Sergeant Harrison was immediately demoted and suspended without pay for 7 days, while Deputy Godey received a 2-day suspension. Both officers were also required to undergo remedial training on civil rights. Hodges has retained an attorney and plans to file a lawsuit against the Columbia County Sheriff's Office. He's also requesting a federal investigation into the incident. The case highlights the importance of protecting individuals' constitutional rights and holding law enforcement accountable for any violations. In this next video, in May of 2020, an incident unfolded in Columbia County, Georgia, where a man was filming a video outside the store. However, the owners of the store called the police on him, prompting officers from the Columbia County Sheriff's Office to respond. The officer in charge approached the man and requested his identification, citing a call about his videotaping activity.
Yeah, we got a call about your videotaping on their property. You haven't...
No, I'm not on their property. I never step on nobody's property.
Oh, okay.
No, sir.
No, I've just got the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Do you have a driver? Or an ID?
Well, I don't show my ID. I don't do nothing wrong. You understand? I'm filming in public, giving people free advertisement, and they approach me. And if you could just tell them that I'm not doing anything wrong, and
But you weren't on the property.
no, sir. I'm very careful not to do that. I'll pull GIS surveys, and been doing this a long
What are
time.
you videoing for, if you don't mind me asking?
First Amendment, protected activity. Just
doing like
yeah. Free advertisement.
Do you live around here? Are you from here? I'm
not from around here. Most people know me. I do this. I go around and, show people right from wrong, wrong from right. And, when they say they call the police, I don't leave. Yeah.
Just checking on it.
Yeah.
But you were never on the property?
No, I'm very close. Never ever to do that. Matter of fact, far as I was right there at the edge of the curtilage, the GIS survey starts.
The man asserted that he had not committed any wrongdoing and explained that he was filming in a public area to provide free advertisement. He emphasized that he was careful not to trespass or infringe upon anyone's rights. Refusing to show his identification, he relied on his understanding of Georgia law, which states that unless someone has broken the law, they are not required to identify themselves. The officer alleged that the man had trespassed on the store's property, despite video evidence proving otherwise. However, the officer persisted in requesting identification to potentially charge the man with trespassing. The man maintained his innocence and questioned the basis for his detention, as he had not committed any crime.
Unless I've broken the law, you don't have to ID in the state of Georgia. Am I being detained?
Well, for the moment, yes.
For what crime?
Till we find out what's going on.
To what crime am I being committed?
We were called because you were on their property.
Right, and he determined I wasn't.
Okay. Hang tight just a minute, we'll get you out.
Am I being detained for an unlawful reason? Yes or no?
Right now, you're being detained because you were on their property, and we're trying to find out what's going on.
Okay, and I can prove that I wasn't on their property, and they can't prove that I was. Or, there again, issue me a trespass, I'll be on my way, and then we'll go to court, but...
A staff sergeant arrived at the scene, and the man recounted the entire incident, including his rights and the lack of any illegal activity. As the man spoke, the two deputies involved in the arrest stood by, seemingly embarrassed.
How are you? What was your name and badge number, sir?
Sure, it's Staff Sergeant Johnson, 93159.
Hey, Johnson. I was explaining to them, I'm out here exercising my rights, First Amendment right. Private property starts about 1.2 foot on the other side of that telephone pole per government document survey. Well, okay. Anyway, I did my homework. I'm down here giving some people free advertisement. They called the police to me. This deputy here legally detained me for 18 minutes and 32 seconds for no suspicion of nothing. He told me that I had to show him my identification to be trespassed. I explained to him I was on the curtilage of that road. Right there, their property starts at the front tire of that VW.
Okay.
And I'm trying to exercise my rights. Both of them gentlemen stood in a auditorium or courthouse with their hand on a Bible, and they swore an oath to protect my civil rights.
Yes, sir.
He's wanting my Fourth Amendment violated. He's wanting my First Amendment violated. And they called the police to me and lied. I got 28 minutes of video that shows me doing exactly what I'm doing right now on public property, exercising my right as an American.
So and any time did you go on their property?
No, sir. Look, he knows exactly who I am.
Which one?
To the left.
Okay.
And I told him I'm going to file a formal complaint on him and him. And y'all have never, ever had a problem with Columbia County.
Right.
Ever. And once you realize who I am and what I'm doing, and it really makes y'all look bad, man. And I'm illegally detained for no crime. Right. That's a...
As long as you haven't been on their property, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Because you're outside their property, and you're legally doing what you need
absolutely.
To do.
Can you explain that to them so they don't violate anybody else's rights?
And they don't want you on their property.
Absolutely. So and I don't go on their property.
That's why they were just saying a criminal trespass warning. So you've been warned.
I've been warned the first time that don't get an ID. The second time you do. See, he didn't know that. He didn't know that.
I'm good to go with you if you're...
Well, I'm good to go. Am I still detained? Thank you. Well, and Thank you. I'll wait till y'all leave and then I'll leave.
The staff sergeant acknowledged the man's explanation and confirmed that he had not been on the store's property. The man expressed his intention to file a formal complaint against the deputy who detained him, citing violations of his Fourth Amendment rights and First Amendment rights. Eventually, the deputies conceded that there was no illegality in the man's filming activity and allowed him to leave without further detainment. This incident serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding and upholding individuals' constitutional rights, even during encounters with law enforcement. At the start of this clip, we see two cars pulling over on the side of the freeway, one belonging to the cameraman and the other to his friend, who was pulled over by state troopers for speeding. When the officer notices that the cameraman is with the guy who was pulled over, he asks him to pull over in front of him as well, but since the cameraman realized this was just retaliation, he decided to just pull over behind the cop car at that moment. Let's see what happens next.
Okay.
So,
driver's license and registration, please.
You're lying. But you're pulling him over, right?
You and him both.
You just told me you were pulling him over, so.
Yeah, well, he was going 87, you were going 85.
No, I got my cruise on.
I tell you to.
I got my cruise on.
Give me your driver's license and your registration and insurance.
The cop asked the car driver to provide his driver's license and registration papers, to which the driver replied that the cop must be fooling around as the cop pulled over the driver's friend's car. The officer replied that he has pulled over both cars. The cop decides to cite both drivers for speeding, even though the cameraman claims to have his cruise control on.
Well, you got to give me a minute for the registration, but here's my license. And you realize that how can you see my speed when he's right in front of me?
You're following him. So here's what I did. I hit my front radar on him. He was going 87. As soon as he passed, it went to 85 on you. I never stopped the radar. That's the way it is.
Do you have a printout of that?
The man hands over his license to the officer, unaware that the officer can see his speed. The officer then explains, he's right in front of me and you're following him, so here's what I did. I hit my radar on him and he was going 87, but as soon as he passed, it went to 85 on you.
Now, when I make a traffic stop, if you don't do as I say by pointing to the front of him,
as you
by
say,
being behind
is that
me,
lawful?
I'm trying to make
sure
I have...
lawful order?
Yeah, it is, because it's officer safety. You're obstructing my traffic stop.
Officer safety is not a law.
So, I want you to pull the front of him so that you're not behind me.
Quote me the code for that.
So that I can make sure that
Can you quote me the law for that?
The officer then declares that we'll conduct a traffic stop. If you don't do as I say and I pull in front of him, I'm doing everything I can to ensure officer safety. You're in my way, so I'd like you to pull the problem behind me just to be sure.
The code?
I'm not going to pull you the law for that.
Then there is no law for that.
It is a lawful order.
There's got to be a code for it. There has to be a code for it. For officer safety, there is no code.
I don't care.
Just like there's no code for public safety.
Why is it
What's
that
the
you
problem?
won't do what I tell you to?
I'm with him, okay? It's not safe for me to just pull up ahead.
The man knows that the cop is lying and building up the laws that are not real, so he asks the cop to quote the law for whatever he says.
I don't exactly go to the front of people's vehicles because if you had a gun or something like that, you could always...
What are you so scared of?
What do you mean, what am I scared of? That's the way we maintain our officer
safety. You think everybody's out to get you?
That is the way we maintain our
officer safety. Why do you guys always
think... I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're coming from.
Your officer safety issue is ridiculous. You realize that?
The cops then explain why he is terrified. He responds, you could always have a gun or something like that. I'm afraid that's the way we make Do You Think? Everyone's trying to get you. That's how we made it. What do you think? Here the man responds, I don't know who you are, and the safety issue is ridiculous. You realize you have one of the least dangerous professions in the world, and I don't have to cooperate since you didn't pull me over. You pulled him over.
There's the insurance.
Stand by.
The man gives the insurance and registration to the cop, but what happens next is going to shock you. They just leave. The man then decides to follow them. The cop appears to refuse to disclose his service ID or information about a supervisor, instead merely handing the driver a ticket and telling him everything's on there. We have a suspicion the cop wants to get rid of this individual as soon as possible.
I give that all to you on a card.
No, you can verbalize it.
I'm going to give it to you.
It's the law. You're supposed to verbalize it.
I'm gonna give it.
Can
I'm
you
gonna give
verbally
you. All I have to
identify
do is
yourself?
provide it to you. That's
Verbally.
all I have to do.
Verbally.
I'm gonna explain your citation
Someone
to
that
you.
has vision problems.
This is your violation.
Is
You
the
have
reason
vision
why.
problems?
When the man asks for the police badge number, the officer refuses and says, "I'll give it to you." However, when the man begs him to verbalize it, the cop continues to refuse. After the continuous refusal of information, the cop gives the violation for speed to the man and leaves.
Your violation is for speed.
Oh,
You're going
what?
85 and a 70.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you a violation citation for
Okay, what's your
80
name?
and a 70.
What's your name and badge
You're
number?
right down here.
What's your name and badge number? Are you
right
going to
down
fail to
here.
identify?
And now our next interaction between the cops and a citizen. The video begins with a man standing on the road leading to Iowa State Prison. Despite the fact that the road is publicly accessible, the cops say that it is private property.
And your instruction on how to pay out a contest, whichever you choose. My
Who-
information
who's
is
your
down here.
supervising officer?
Huh?
Who's your
My
supervisor?
information is down here. I'm providing that information to you.
Who's your
There's
supervisor?
information. Have a safe day.
The cop approaches the man and tells him, "We're not going to be concerned about you standing out here filming if you go back and approach that prison. If we get a call about that, we'll come up here and arrest you." That leads to you being warned by an employee to keep off the prison location.
So we rode our bikes back this way because there's no signs right here saying that it's, private property or not publicly accessible. Such guy. And so we rode back over in here, and Dum Dum decides to tell me that we're on private property. I understand it's penitentiary property, but this is a public accessible road to their visitors' parking lot. So,
The cameraman shows the location and mentions that we rode our bikes back this way because there were no signs indicating that this is private land or public property that is not accessible to the public. So we came back in here and he informed me that we were on private property. I understand it's a necessary property, however, this is a public road leading to the visitor's parking lot. Florida just backed up here, claiming that this was a private road, and you claim that there was a sign up here, but the only sign is the K9 on premises. That's all.
yeah, I know, and it's over. If this road, he says it's private, but there's no sign saying it's not. So, and there's the parking lot's right there, right? That's where you go in to visit somebody, right? So this is open road, right? Right, and then he's trying to tell me it's private, but I know it's not. You know it's not, because the public, how do I go and visit somebody if I want to visit somebody, right? Well, the parking lot. Right, so that's where, I would go to the door, though, to find out, on information on how to visit somebody, right? Yeah, Right. And see, and I say it on. You're good as long as you're on the road. Right. Roadway, like meaning this road. Oh, see, no. See, that's where I'm going to contest, because there's no sign saying I can't go down this road. He said there's no access, no public access, only whatever personnel.
Next, an officer arrives and the cameraman asks the officer about the property. The cameraman explains it's private, yet there's no sign stating otherwise. So the parking lot's right there, and that's where you're going to see someone, right? So if this is an open road, how do I go visit someone if I wish to see someone? So that's where I would go to the door to find out information on how to visit someone, right? The cop tries all they can to persuade the man to leave, but the cameraman continuously informs the officer he is perfectly legal to be on the road. The cops then tell him it's fine to film and be in the area, but they still ask for his ID. But what happens next is going to shock you and make you laugh. This is when the guy simply hands him a piece of paper with their ID scribbled on it, knowing full well he's not legally compelled to identify himself.
They just want you to stay on the shoulder.
Yeah, I got my name. Hold on. YOURFIRSTNAME. Your first name.
Next, the man gives the same type of paper written on it with the name. This is surely a lesson for the cops using the law inefficiently. The man's now done with his tricks and asks the cops if anyone's informed about you guys coming over here, because this is definitely public property and there's no sign over here. Here, something strange happens when the cops go from ordering to requesting. So what happened just now, and what did the man show them? Just take a look. The man then leaves after displaying his weapon, which is the law document outlining what rights the police would be violating if the man was not allowed to remain there.